So we're about to go through my last link lesson for the week. I'm on lesson 33. So I'm 5 above an average, or 12 above an average of one lesson a day, because we're on at the end of week 3 now. And something that I'm going to add in here is at the beginning of each link segment, I'm going to click up here and you can see down here where it shows the number of known words. And so those are all of the words that are not blue or yellow that I've encountered. And so you can see I'm above 700 now. So that'll be another metric that we can use to kind of show and track my progress, at least in terms of, my passive vocabulary and how that's improving as the weeks go on.
Dimenticato il suo libro universitario. Eric, settimana scorsa, era in aula all'università. Stava ascoltando il professore, ma Eric aveva dimenticato il suo libro di testo. Quindi era confuso dalla lezione. Eric chiese aiuto ad un altro compagno di classe. Gli chiese di poter guardare il suo libro di testo. Il suo compagno di classe gli disse che poteva guardare il suo libro di testo.
Okay, so this week I'm going to show different parts of the story, so that way it's not just the same thing over and over again for the 3 phases of Link. So I'm going to start on the B part, where it's Questa è la stessa storia raccontata da Eric, this is the same story but told from the point of view of Eric. So it's going to be the first person perspective, whereas the A part of the story is the third person perspective. Aula. So I saw that in the A portion, that was a blue word previously, it means classroom. I didn't know that at the time, that's why it's yellow. Proprio ora. So he was in class at the university in the correct right hour.
Proprio.
Exact, proper. Right now. Okay, proprio ora. So those two combine. This is one grammar construction that I've noticed more in the lessons, and something that I'm going to be paying attention to more is stavo ascoltando. So stavo is past tense, ascoltando past tense. So it's stavo literally means like stay, but ascoltando so is the past tense of heard. And so he was listening to his professor. So stavo. I was
ascoltando,
listening to the professor. So, I was listening to the professor. And this is something that I do as I get deeper and deeper, as I start paying even more and more attention to the grammar, as I learn more and more. Initially, I'm not so concerned necessarily with trying to dissect and pick up all of the little grammar things, but as I'm understanding more and more, well, in order to keep advancing, you need to now use more and more of a critical eye and start trying to recognize these grammar patterns. And even though I haven't yet formally studied that grammar pattern, I've seen it over and over again now, to where I've kind of somewhat picked it up a little bit. So, ma ho dimenticato il mio libro di testo, così sono confuso dalla lezione. So, but ho dimenticato. So, but I've forgotten my book of the test, così sono confuso. So I am confused in the lesson. Così. So in this way. So I am confused in the lesson. Così is a word that I've seen in several of the lessons, but for some reason it's just not sticking, because I think I want to, it to be like cosa, which is like thing. So, yeah, just some words are like that. are going to be difficult to get them to stick. Ho chiesto aiuto a un altro compagno di classe. So I have asked, ho chiesto, aiuto, like ayuda, ed in Spanish and French. So I have asked help to another classmate from the class. Ho chiesto di poter guardare sul suo libro di testo. I have asked if I could look at his book for the test, essentially. Let's see, make sure that that's right. Asked to be able to look on his textbook. Yeah, okay. Il mio compagno mi sta lasciando guardare il suo libro di testo. So my classmate companion mi sta lasciando. So lasciando is going to be like laisser, I'm guessing. So allows.
Lasciando.
Leaving. Oh, like lasciare. Yeah, okay. So no, guardare il suo libro di testo. So I mean that's to look at his book of the test. And so no, the translation is more like allow. My classmate is letting me look. Yeah. Ho detto grazie e sto guardando. There's that same type of grammar construction that I'm trying to pay more attention to. So was watching, was looking. Il libro di testo. Ho provato a prendere appunti sulla lezione, ma allora ho realizzato di aver dimenticato anche la biero. So appunti, I saw that in the part A, it means notes, but I didn't know that, and so that's why it's yellow. I tried to take notes on the lesson, but then I realized realizzato, that should be easy for just about anybody if you speak even just English, di aver dimenticato anche la biero. So of having forgotten also la biero, pen, is that what that is?
Biro.
Yeah, okay. I said that I knew it, but I just gotta check sometimes. And that's all I'm recording on the phase 2 for this week. So now we're gonna go into phase 3, which is me listening and then repeating. This is gonna be the question and answer portion of the text.
Ecco alcune domande.
Ecco alcune domande. So here are some questions.
Puoi provare a rispondere o semplicemente ascoltare le risposte.
Puoi provare a rispondere o semplicemente ascoltare le risposte. So you can try to respond or simply listen to the answer.
A. Eric era in classe all'università.
A1. Eric era in classe all'università.
Dove era Eric?
Dove era Eric?
Eric era in classe all'università.
Eric era in classe all'università.
2. Eric stava ascoltando il professore.
So Eric was listening to the professor. Eric stava ascoltando il professore.
Chi stava ascoltando Eric?
Chi stava ascoltando Eric?
Lui stava ascoltando il professore.
Lui stava ascoltando il professore.
3. Eric dimenticò il suo libro di testo.
3. Eric dimenticò il suo libro di testo. This is another grammar construction that I haven't really formally studied yet in my grammar books, but that I've noticed over and over again in the stories. This dimentico with the O with the accent on it, I know that that's the past tense, third person singular. So it's Eric, as and you know that from Eric, but forgot.
Dimenticò.
Yeah, forgot.
Cosa dimenticò Eric?
Cosa dimenticò Eric? And so, yeah, if you, even when you're starting to get familiar with the language, if you can start trying to notice patterns and get used to them, even if you haven't formally came across them in your grammar studying, it can be useful, and you can learn a lot still just from reading, listening, and consuming the language.
Eric dimenticò il suo libro di testo.
Eric dimenticò il suo libro di testo. Okay, it's Sunday night at the end of week 3, so it's time for week 3 summary. This week I did a total of, should have had this ready to go before the video, but 19.26 hours of active studying and 3.5 or 3.4 hours of passive listening and watching, which is up from the first 2 weeks by about an hour, I think. So I did an hour more this week than I did the first 2 weeks. And for Coffee Break Italian, which is where the extra hours came in, I did 25 lessons this week for a total of 9.3 hours of listening. I've gone through the entire first season now, which is 40 episodes, and listened to each episode at least once. I'm going to go back through a couple of those episodes because I want to take more notes, and because I didn't get to because I was in the car, or and so I kind of want to go back just a couple of those episodes. And then lessons 31 through 38 or so, I didn't take any notes. Actually, you can see here it goes from 31 to 38 because it was mostly the podcast was the host went to Italy, and so they recorded live conversations. So it was actually more of listening practice, really. I mean, they talked about the grammar and stuff a bit too, but there wasn't as much to take notes on there. And so yeah, I'm going to go back, and there's a few lessons I want to take extra notes on, and then I'll move on to season 2 sometime next week. Then for Link, not much to say here. I did 11 lessons for 4.46 hours this week. As you've seen from earlier in the video, that seems to be going well. I'm getting a lot of passive vocabulary, at least. Kind of getting exposed to more grammar constructions, even grammar constructions that I have not explicitly studied from a grammar book perspective, but I'm picking up on just from seeing them repeated over and over again and seeing the translations. And so that's been going well. With Asimil this week, oh yeah, something else I wanted to add in was, so I did at least something in Coffee Break Italian 7 out of 7 days this week, and end of week 3, so that means 21 days of studying. I've done Coffee Break Italian every day, so I'm 21 out of 21. On Link, I did 7 out of 7 days this week, but last week I went 6 for 7, and the first week I went 7 for 7, so I've done at least 1 lesson in Link 20 out of the 21 possible days so far. And Asimil this week, I did 6 out of 7 days. I missed 1 day, and I don't recall why. I think life had gotten in the way, and I just was unable to get an Asimil lesson in. But that's the only one I've missed so far, so I'm 20 of 21 on that. This week I did 6 Asimil lessons plus a revision for a total of 3.4 hours. And yeah, not much to say there other than I missed my first day so far on that, but that's also going well, and I like it because you get practice writing, at least the way that I do, and that's how I treat kind of like all of these tools is that I really try to not rush through them, which is why, for instance, a link lesson will take me 20 to 30 minutes sometimes, depending on how long the lesson is, and if I'm having difficulties either with pronunciation, repeating what I'm hearing in the lesson, or I'm really trying to understand this grammar construction that they're using. And then for the last of the active study tools for Italian Uncovered, I did it 3 out of 7 days this week for a total of 9 out of 21 days. This is clearly the tool that if something gets dropped off, usually it's going to be this one. So I'm averaging 2 to 3 times a week of doing some Italian Uncovered. I've read through and watched all of the materials in the study materials for 3 of the chapters so far with Italian Uncovered, but each of the chapters have a vocabulary worksheet and a grammar worksheet, and so I went through that with chapters 1 and 2. So I'm going to go through the same vocab and grammar worksheets with chapter 3 this week, and maybe I'll get through the reading of chapter 4 and going through the videos that show you like grammar breakdowns and vocab breakdowns and pronunciation guides as well. And I did 3 sessions of that this week, like I said, for a total of a little over 2 hours, 2.1 hours. And then the last category, the passive materials, watching YouTube videos, watching Netflix, listening to podcasts, which really is just easy Italian right now. And so I've listened to a couple of those episodes. I did 5 out of 7 days this week. I've done some passive listening and watching for a total of 17 out of the 21 available study days thus far for 3.4 hours this week. The major note is that I finished Odio il Natale on Netflix. It's good show, entertaining. I may watch it again. It's a seasonal show. Well, not seasonal show, but it's a show that has to do with the holidays. And so for me, Christmas is next week, next Sunday, and I'm not gonna watch that until potentially next year, but I like the show, so I may watch it again before Christmas, so this upcoming week. I also started doing some research, asked on Reddit for some music suggestions for Italian, so that's why I think too my passive listening has gone down, quote unquote, because I'm not counting the time that I'm listening to music as passive listening, even though it is, obviously. But a lot of times, at least for me, music is a little bit more difficult of a tool to use because, a lot of times the lyrics and what the artist is saying gets obfuscated from the sound of the music. And so I generally don't count music as even passive studying a lot of the times. And so, yeah, that's pretty much the summary for this week. Went pretty well. Happy with my progress. I'm eager, I think, to start some classes. Yeah, I know. Some classes on italki and to start speaking, because I think that's really going to help take my Italian to another level in terms of really ingraining those sorts of grammar constructions and being able to use them. And so, yeah, with that, I'm gonna do my little timer, trying to speak some Italian, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so I've got the stopwatch out now. So, boom. Okay. Questa settimana ho mangiato molte pizze e molti gelati. Ho imparato l'italiano per 3 settimane e ho 21 days. Dia? No, forgot. E mi piace mucho, molto l'italiano e sono molto contenta per la prossima settimana. And yep, you can see there I got did a little over a minute, but got kind of stuck in trying to find words that I just don't have yet. I need more costruzione grammaticale and vocabulario, if that's even an Italian word, or if I'm just Spanishifying my Italian now too much. But yep, so that's it for this week. I'll see you next week with another update.